नमस्ते बिटिया, हमेशा खुश रहिए। माई सेल्फ जेवीएन डॉक्टर नेहा सैनी from Physiotherapy and Diagnostic, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. Here I am going to tell you about the suboccipital region and the suboccipital triangle. The back of the neck is limited above by the external occipital protuberance and superior nuchal lines, and below by the spine of C7 vertebra. The important structure at the back of the neck include ligamentum nuchae, extensor muscles of the neck, and suboccipital triangle. The contents of this region are the skin, superficial fascia, deep fascia, and the muscles like trapezius, splenius capitis, longissimus capitis, semispinalis cervicis, levator scapulae, splenius cervicis, and semispinalis capitis. The skin is supplied by great occipital nerve, third occipital nerve, and cutaneous branches of C4 and C5. These are the branches of cervical plexus. So here we can see the cervical nerves. Then in the superficial fascia, we have the cutaneous vessels, which are the branches of occipital artery and the vertebral artery. Then in the deep fascia of the back is known as nuchal fascia, is attached in the midline to the spines and supraspinous ligaments and ligamentum nuchae. Ligamentum nuchae is a triangular sheet of fibroelastic tissue that forms the median fibrous septum between the muscles of two sides of the back of the neck, to which it is attached under the deep fascia. It presents superior, anterior, and posterior borders. So here we can see the ligamentum nuchae. It has the clear borders. This is the ligamentum nuchae. The superior, this is anterior, and this is posterior border of the ligamentum nuchae. And it is attached from the external occipital protuberance up to the C7 spine. Now the muscles, these are arranged in superficial and D group. The superficial group includes the first layer of trapezius, second layer of levator scapulae. Trapezius is a large flat triangular muscle. It is originating from medial third of the superior nuchal line. Superior nuchal line lies in the skull. This is the superior nuchal line. External occipital protuberance in the midline, and ligamentum nuchae, as we have seen, up to the spine of C7 vertebrae, and it is inserted on the upper lateral 1/3 of the clavicle, medial border of the acromion. Here this lies the insertion, and tubercle of the spine of scapula. So this is the insertion. This is the trapezius muscle. Nerve supply is by spinal accessory nerve and ventral rami of C3 and C4 spinal nerves. Action of this muscle, it helps in elevation, shrugging of the shoulder, also helps in retracting and steadying the scapula. Next muscle is levator scapulae. It arises from the posterior tubercle of the transverse process of the first four cervical vertebrae. So here we can see the origin from the posterior tubercle of the four cervical vertebrae, upper four cervical vertebrae, and it is inserted on the medial border of the scapula. It is supplied by the branches of C4 and C3 and C4 nerves. Action is elevation of the scapula, as the name indicates, levator scapulae. Then the D group includes, in the external layer we have splenius capitis and splenius cervicis. In the intermediate layer we have longissimus capitis and longissimus cervicis. In the deep layer we have semispinalis capitis and cervicis. Deepest layer is formed by the suboccipital muscles. Now this triangular muscular space situated deep in the suboccipital region of the neck, one on each side of the midline, and is bounded by the three muscles of suboccipital group of muscles. So the boundaries are: above and medially it is bounded by RCP major, that is rectus capitis posterior major. It is highlighted with blue color. So this is the RCP major. Above and laterally it is bounded by obliquus capitis superior, and above and below and laterally it is bounded by obliquus capitis inferior. RCP minor is also in this region but does not form the part of triangle. So in the boundaries we have superomedially by the RCP major supplemented by RCP minor. Superolaterally we have superior obliquus capitis, and inferiorly we have inferior oblique capitis muscle. Roof is formed by medially by the dense fibrous tissue covered the semispinalis capitis, and laterally by the longissimus capitis. And the floor is formed by the posterior arch of atlas and posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. So the contents are suboccipital plexus of veins, third part of vertebral artery, and dorsal ramus of C1 suboccipital nerve. So suboccipital plexus of veins, it lies in and around the triangle and connects many veins and plexus, thus provides a number of alternative routes for venous drainage. And third part of vertebral artery, it appears in the suboccipital triangle through foramen transversarium of the atlas vertebrae. Atlas vertebrae is the first cervical vertebrae, C1. Then dorsal ramus of C1 suboccipital nerve, it emerges between the posterior arch of atlas and the vertebral artery and soon break up into branches which supply the 4 suboccipital muscles. So this is the suboccipital triangle. Here we can see the dorsal ramus of C1, the vertebral artery, which are the contents. Now the clinical relation. The posterior cranial fossa is approached by the neurosurgeons to remove the brain tumor by clearing the suboccipital muscles and removing the exposed bone. The connections between the suboccipital venous plexus and internal vertebral venous plexus serve as a path of intracranial infection in carbuncles of the neck. So, if there is neck rigidity, it is seen in cases of meningitis due to spasm of extensor muscles, and this is caused by irritation of the nerve roots during their passage to the subarachnoid space, which is infected. So, here we can see the emerging of the nerve through the subarachnoid space in the intervertebral foramina. Now the questions according to this chapter which can be asked in your exams, these are: discuss about the suboccipital triangle under the following headings. The headings include the boundaries, contents and the clinical aspects. So here you have to mention the clinical aspects, the boundaries, that is superior, inferior, lateral and medial boundaries, the roof and the floor, and the contents of the suboccipital triangle. Now in this exercise you have to draw this diagram and label all the structures which are mentioned in this diagram in your file. Then we'll complete your topic, the suboccipital triangle. Thank you.